Welcome, Earthlings. Welcome to Reptile in the Living Room, a show dedicated to talking about criminals on this planet that have been around since the beginning of time, that unfortunately are still here. But perhaps there is a doorway for them to exit and a doorway for us to enter two completely different worlds. I see that as part of the Great Awakening, and that indeed is an opportunity. It has also become apparent to me, and hopefully many of you at this time, that we need to actually do something about it. We really do. That all together, working in harmony and in unison, we can take back this world. It hasn't actually been ours for a long, long time. I'm not even quite sure if it really has been. I don't have any objections to sharing our planet with people that may not be native to our planet. I don't have problems with sharing anything as long as we respect each other. That's the bottom line for any relationship. We are currently in a very, very dysfunctional relationship with a strange energy system. I don't know what else to call them. I mean, this force that kind of escaped from the one infinite creator. I'm not going to pretend I know those things. I could just kind of make some guesses at information that's been presented by many people over the years. Boy, since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of writing that we have available to us. And apparently there's a lot of writings we don't have available to us that have been hidden away from us by nefarious groups and hidden away from us by groups of people that want to hide information from the nefarious groups that stole the information from them in the first place, or threatened to, or stole from other civilizations. You know, I just can't get enough of reading about our ancient history. And if you read some good authors, you can read some amazing, amazing things, especially about lost continents. And Plato, I don't think he was writing fiction, my friends. I think that was the real deal, among other writers. There's so much evidence of ancient history in our world. It's, man, go down that rabbit hole. You know, if some of the other stuff I talk about is too scary, go down into our ancient history. You know, all these things that are myths, considered myths all over the world. No, you know, it just seems odd that so many cultures so separated would have the same myths. Oh, maybe there was a land bridge. Maybe we were just all one big land mass at one time. Man, that even if that were the case, which it may be the case, I don't know. I wasn't around. I just have to make guesses like everybody else. To have those stories so far spread out, I mean, you know, you'd have a better chance of winning the lottery if you didn't buy a ticket. You know, seriously. So the point of this show is to talk about this dysfunctional relationship we're in with what I call the control system. Some people call the matrix, and there's probably a whole bunch of different things we can call it. I don't like being treated like a child. I've worked really hard to grow up over the years, and I don't want to be treated like a baby. I just don't. I bet you don't either. And they're hiding tons of stuff from us. And you know what? On some soul level, it's not just like right in here. We've known it the whole way. We've known it the entire time that we've been lied to. And I guarantee you, the more information you listen to along these lines, the more you look back in your life and go, why didn't I see it then? Or like, I knew it, and they just didn't question it anymore. And lots of times that questioning was because you were either scolded for asking those questions by parents or teachers or even peers, but you were just laughed at. And that's like the worst part. Nobody wants to be laughed at. And I've talked about this in other shows. This is a program. This laughing at other people when they tell or share things that are kind of out of the norm, to laugh at them. And it's a program to like get people to stop talking about it. So collectively we don't open up and start talking about our real history and our real truth, our real heritage. And to, you know, continue the program of demeaning the human spirit and soul. Like somehow or another, we're not okay just the way we are. We've got to meet all of these standards in order to be okay. If not, we're in some other group or some other class or some other caste or some other system of division, which is incredibly unhealthy. I mean, dang, I just love the fact that so many people in my life have so many different gifts to offer and thoughts to offer and stories to offer and food to offer. One of my favorite things is always the different foods people have to offer. Wow, the diversity of life is what makes it. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yet somehow there's this program that wants us all to conform, all to be one thing, all to be just like each other. And while we are, a system, we are really all a bunch of cells in one system called humanity. And I'm sure, if we look at our role in the cosmos, it's far greater than that, We're all connected and we're all important, but we all have our individual functions, and those functions aren't to do the same thing other than to love. That's the life force. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you look at it, no matter who tells you it's not, it is. That's our life force. It's love. That's what God is. It's just love. It's love. It's this incredible power that we know very little about. But we certainly know on some level, how to do it, and we should always aspire to do that in all of our actions. So yeah, this show is really dedicated to talking about this dysfunctional relationship we are in with a big group of liars. Once again, I'm just looking at interesting things. Beautiful blue jay just flew past. Beautiful. Wish we had as many birds as we used to have, but it's beautiful, and I certainly appreciate the ones we have and strive to send them good energy so that they'll be healthy. We're all in relation to one another. It's all part of life. It's incredible when you think about it. So I really want to talk today about another aspect of this dysfunctional system, and I talked about it in another show where we have this, we're going to give you some truth, then we're going to push it back and say that's not true. We're going to give you some truth and we're going to push it back. It's this strange thing they've been doing with us for a really, really long time now. And we really can't refer too much about what was happening in our history with like stories and people's experiences. Newspapers kind of give us an idea of personal accounts of things, but prior to that, it was for authors and, people that were maybe had enough money to get books printed, or people that had a bunch of investors to help them write particular narratives and had the money to get those things printed. To think about all those things. What's true? I think people are always coming back against me with things that I say, particularly on Facebook, and, they're skeptics. They're skeptics of everything I say. I'm a hell of a skeptic. I will look and look and look and look generally before I'll take something on. Generally, not always, because there are times you're like, can't miss what that is. It's really important to ask questions about everything. And if something kind of hits us in this space, like, oh, that doesn't feel right, no matter what it is, we need to look at that. We need to question that. We have an innate system in our body that's incredible. It's just another thing we've been programmed to ignore since childhood. We need to listen to the little cues that our body gives us. Once again, it's all connected. Everything in our body is connected. It really works synergistically. And if we can see that and acknowledge that, then all of a sudden we have this great intuition. Some people call it being psychic, and, there's various levels of being quote unquote psychic. If we can learn to listen from like this area, and I know that sounds weird, but if we can learn to listen from this area, we can hear different things. And we have many different senses, which a lot of people don't know either. It's another thing that's been hidden from us. Now, I love ancient writing and ancient teachers And, lessons we get from the Native American tribes of just the United States alone are incredible. They have so much to share with us. And I think I mentioned in another show that I was I think my really was just kind of the big shove into learning about this type of history. Because I have always enjoyed history, but generally more local history. That was always something I enjoyed the most. But boy, I went from local history to galactic history in one big jump, really. When I was watching a show called The Pyramid Code, I believe Carmen Bolter is the person who produced that show, a very intelligent woman. She had a fellow on this show who gave a lot of information in the tribal gear. And I remember hearing him speak back then, and in my limited awareness at the time, I remember listening to everything he was saying and was fascinated, but I was thinking, well, what does he know? I mean, he's just some tribal guy. He's the story keeper of the tribe, but I don't know, how accurate this would be. Well, come to find out, towards the end of this series, he wasn't just some tribal guy, limited thinking me, super limited thinking, and embarrassing, We all have our biases from our programming, and I was really grateful to break out of that one. And he shared, did I mention, he was like the head of the archaeological department of Cairo University. Yeah, just some tribal guy, pretty smart guy, okay? I think he's since passed, but boy, I couldn't help but fall in love with him on that show. He was a really, really, really beautiful spirit. And he said the ancient Egyptians said that we had over 300 senses, right? 300. Isn't that crazy? Now, my guess is our intuition is probably more than one of those extra senses. It's probably a combination of things. I only share that because of personal experience. That maybe I'll talk about in another video when I talk about sound and all the amazing things about sound. I think that's where I'll talk about it. It would fit in there quite nicely. And we have these senses, and to develop this intuition, really, in my opinion, once again, all of these are just my thoughts and my observations from reading, from personal experience, from listening to firsthand witness testimony from people, and even other testimony from people who have heard it from other people, where it validates many other things I have learned. That's where these things come from. If we develop this intuition, we're going to be onto a whole new source of information, and it just takes time, and what it takes is us listening to ourselves. It takes us trusting ourselves, and that's a laundry list of programs right there. It's like, don't trust yourself. We've been told in so many places in life to not trust ourselves, to second guess, to analyze, to blah, blah, blah. Sometimes maybe that's necessary, but my experience has been the more that I listen to this at the get-go of things, it's just usually this quick little bloop, here comes the information at the beginning of some new information coming into me. I get this little feel about things, okay? I'm still working on this too. I'm still working on this, and don't really study too much about it. I study consciousness and I meditate every single day. But this is just my own feeling about how my life goes. If I listen to that first little blip that comes in, using hindsight, I can see that it's generally right. How nice is that? Because we get so waylaid in life sometimes by the inability to make decisions, because we immediately start to go into analysis, especially of our past experiences. Last time I did this, that happened, so I'm not doing it again. When it comes to putting your hand on the stove, I totally get it. But I also think that can become faulty at times. But once again, these are just my own opinions. I'm not here to advise in any way. I'm just sharing things with you today. That's all from my personal life. Maybe they'll help you, maybe they won't. I hope they will. Um, it's all about truth. Truth is such a big deal. Do we listen to ourselves? Can we trust ourselves? We should be able to trust ourselves. You know what? And if sometimes it feels like that trust isn't leading us down the right path, that might be an indication that maybe we're not being very truthful with ourselves and others in life. Just a thought. Just a thought. It seems to me the more... what's the word I'm looking for? The term I'm looking for. It's not just honesty. I'll just use honesty. The more honest we are with ourselves and others, the more things just kind of flow well in our lives. And reverting back to another show, talking about the great AA slogan, you're only as sick as your secrets. Let's be truthful. I'll talk about another thing too. I've been meaning to share this and I haven't. I remember in my early days of self-helping myself to wellness, I'd say back to wellness, but other than like when I was super little, I think that's the only time I really was, because I had an awful lot of crap thrown on top of me, piled on top of me when I was young. And as I grew up, I mean, I was surprised I was even able to walk and move around it at one point. It was just so heavy, you know, and people that hurt people are hurt people themselves. So I understand that wholeheartedly, and I forgive. But it happened, and so I took it upon myself to do self-healing, and I'm still doing that to this very day. But okay, so one of the other things, what was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about something. Then I got off the track. But as usual, usually my train doesn't fall completely off. Not sick as your secrets. It was something else. I totally forgot. Okay, whatever. I'm going to move on. I know what I'll do. I'll share my beverage of the day with you. Is my beverage of the day, not the day of this. I have many beverages of the day, generally consisting of tea and coffee. I know, probably should be water, but I like stuff in my water. It's just me. So, beverage of the day. And by the way, this beautiful mug was handmade for me by one of my adorable nieces. And she sent it to me for my birthday last year. And it's its maiden voyage today. I don't actually want to drink out of it every day because it's so precious to me. So I keep it on my shelf. And the tea in here today is peppermint and chamomile mixed together. Let me take a sip. I did the mixing. I just bought some loose organic peppermint and some loose organic chamomile and mixed them together. It's a really good combo with some stevia. It's killer. Chamomile's not supposed to be good for you if you have hay fever, which, as all of you know, I do. But I drink it anyway. I like to live life on the edge. Okay, but the best thing is, ta-da! Isn't that the cutest? My niece made this for me. I know. One niece gave me a really cute ET shirt, and the other niece gave me a really cute ET mug that she made by herself. I know. Do you see why I don't ever want to drink out of it? I know. Okay, back to the rainbow side of things. Heck, what was I going to talk about? Well, I'll have to save that for another show. I want to get into my next topic anyway, because I don't have a ton of time to talk about it today. So, this dysfunctional relationship we've got going on with a bunch of controllers. Some people call them controllers. I just call them psychopathic jerks. That's what they are. Whatever. This control game's going to come to an end pretty quickly. A lot of people will argue with me about this ET thing. You know, if it's so much information has come out in the mainstream media, who they all seem to trust for some reason. I don't know, man. I'm saying it. They're saying it. Take your head out of the sand, okay? That's all I'm saying. You know what happens when you keep your head in the sand, right? Next wave comes along, whoosh. There you go. Out to sea. Not a good place to be, especially depending on the ocean. Pretty cold out there. So I think it was like November of 2018. I'm cruising along my life going, oh my God, this world's getting crazier by the second. I'm waking up. I'm like, why don't other people see it? I don't get it. And we were just kind of at a stagnant point with disclosure, because it comes in waves, or it was coming in waves. Well, it's still coming in waves. Little whoosh, little tidbit here, little crumb there, right? And it just seemed like it was stagnating. I'm like, they got to cough up something. It's just been too long. And what they do sometimes, like the plandemic, when these things come out, sometimes it's just like, whoa, man, you just held back and then threw the whole thing at us, right? I can handle it. I mean, I wish they'd throw the whole thing at us, because we got a lot of work to do once we learn all the truth. I mean, we're going to have a lot of great things coming our way, but it's going to be the beginning of a new life, and we're going to have to do a lot of work. It'll be fun work. It'll be way more fun, because we won't have a bunch of nut jobs running the show anymore. So in November, I think, of 2018, all of a sudden, out on a YouTube live video comes Tom DeLonge. Do you know who that guy is? He was in this band called Blink-182. They were like a really big band at some point in time, but I wouldn't know them if they stood up in my soup, baby. Wouldn't know. No clue. I've seen him many times now. Somehow or another, I've managed to avoid listening to him do any music. Wait, I should be holding it this way. I know, I love it. It's so cute, isn't it? So cute. Comes out with this YouTube live video, right? Just out of the clear blue. I think that maybe he gave some sort of hint that he did. I think he gave some sort of hint via social media saying he was going to be talking about something big. And the first time I heard about Tom DeLonge, before this big YouTube live video came out, was prior to the last election, when all those WikiLeaks things came out. Oh boy, those were a lot of fun. Not really. I mean, it was fun because like some more criminals were being exposed. That same old group that some of us had already known were up to a bunch of shenanigans. And in those WikiLeaks emails that came out, there was quite a bit of conversation between a fellow named Tom Podesta, who had worked with both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. John Podesta. Check out some of the artwork he had in his bedroom. Got to ask that guy some big questions. Okay, keep that in mind. There were many WikiLeaks emails between John Podesta and Tom DeLonge regarding getting the ET message out there, or the UFO message, whatever it was. I don't know. It really doesn't make any difference, because you can't really have UFOs without something piloting it, right? That's where I was going with this whole thing. So, yeah, so there we go. Tom DeLonge connected to somebody working for both Hillary and Obama. Really, really, the artwork that this guy has. Nope. I think about people like that. I can't think of anybody much lower. Just leave it at that. So, this video comes out and it features 5 people. I'll try and remember most of the people on the panel. 4 people on the panel. Got Tom DeLonge wearing a suit. And you have these guys sitting on stools. And they're all wearing suits, looking all official. I'm doing all this off of memory, you guys. I don't look this stuff before I start talking or anything. This is all off of memory. So there may be some errors in it. I'll try and correct those if possible underneath the video. The best mug, isn't it? Seriously. These people that Tom DeLonge were interviewing, well, first of all, he said they were all part of this organization that had formed called the To the Stars Academy for Arts and Sciences. In this group, this group's plan, which may or may not still be in existence, I'm not quite sure on that, was to introduce the world to the UFO phenomenon with books and movies. Like they haven't been out already. Hey, good job, guys, to the Stars Academy. You're like way ahead of the curve, man. Out of the box thinking. We've had plenty of that stuff already. No, thank you. And then their next goal was to create some sort of space vehicle. I don't know. Something that goes to the moon. I don't know. And they wanted public funding for it. So they put out this big video, and you could go to their website and give them money. I'd like to give them something, but not money. Peace of my mind would be good, right? Some of the people that were on this panel were pretty prestigious. They had resumes like nobody's business, including Luis Elizondo. He was the former head of the AATIP program. I don't know what the acronym for AATIP stands for. Actually, I go out of my way not to learn what the real meanings of acronyms are, because that's another part of the control system, in my humble opinion. I hate acronyms, and I think they're part of the control system, and what they like to do is confuse us. That's not for expediency's sake. There's no reason to be in a hurry anyway. We're eternal beings. Where in the hell are we in such a hurry to go to? Gotta ask yourself that question sometimes. Always in a rush. Gotta hurry, 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 hurry. Go, go, go. Come on. It's like, whatever. You know what? When you slow things down in life, you'll realize, oh, I never had to go that fast to begin with. I was just making myself crazy and sick and stressed. Anyway, to the Stars Academy. Yeah. Luis Elizondo was the former head of the AATIP program. I don't know what AATIP stands for. It stands for something. They did come up with another thing on this panel. They came up with another acronym. Instead of UFOs, I forget what it's called. And I'll probably continue to forget what it's called, because in the long run, none of this stuff makes any difference. It's good to know it because you know how they're intending harm. So if there's an acronym, generally there's like, some harm, in my opinion, what I've seen, frequently harmful intent behind it. An organization with harmful intent. We're an acronym. Give me a break. We're smart enough. We don't need this stuff. We don't need the acronyms anymore. I'm anti-acronym. Okay. AATIP program. Oh yeah, this other term they came up with. They laid on us at the To the Stars Academy debut video in 2018. Was an acronym to basically stop referring to UFOs as unidentified flying objects. I think Hillary Clinton also came up with something like that too at one point. Didn't call it UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. I think that's what she was calling it. So these people came up with another acronym, and now they want to call it an unidentified aerial threat. There's like another letter or another word in there, and I don't know what it is. So now they're just like things in the sky. We're not quite sure what they are. They're a threat. It's a threat. Everything's a threat. Remember? The one who stirs the pot is the one cooking it. People calling it a threat, they're the threat. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a threat. I'm just trying to out those people. Another thing, don't be mad at me because I'm telling you this stuff. I'm not making it up. It's been around forever. I'm bringing it out to the table so we can all talk about it. That's my goal. If we talk about the problem, we can fix it. It's that easy. It's an intervention. That's all it is. That's what it is. We got a drunken reptile in the living room, and it needs to be dealt with. We need to send it to rehab. It needs help. But we need help with our relationship to it, because we don't need to sit around here and let it control us. You get that? Okay, good. I'm glad to share that with you today. So, this AATIP program, apparently they disclosed out this To the Stars Academy video, which you can find on YouTube. Some of these things you can have to dig for now. They're not as easy to find for some reason. The AATIP program was a program that we've been paying for out of our tax dollars, yet another secret clandestine program. You're only as sick as your secrets. Another clandestine program that tracked UFOs. Oh, I thought they didn't exist. Okay. Oh, no, you're telling us they do exist. Make up your mind, people. Make up your mind. We're getting bored of this game. We're out of popcorn. We're out of our GMO popcorn. We need a new game. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll drink out of the rainbow side this time. It's the new game. It's the rainbow game. where there's love and peace and beauty. So, on the panel, Luis Elizondo worked with the CIA, and depending on who you listen to and when, he either was authorized or wasn't authorized to release film footage of, I believe it was the Tic Tac footage of that Tic Tac, like the candies, the Tic Tac thing buzzing the USS Nimitz, which is the world's largest aircraft carrier. I mean, it's freaking ginormous. Buzzed it for, I think, 3 days off the coast of San Diego. Should have been all over the mainstream news when it was happening, right? It's news. Oh no, what the Kardashians are doing is news. That's not news. No, man. That's not anything. That's what we should just be looking the other way when we hear that stuff. No, thank you. It's just boring. And here we've got this world's largest aircraft carrier being buzzed by a freaking UFO for 3 days. All right. I've heard some testimony that maybe this stuff is inaccurate. Who knows anymore? I mean, I don't know who's playing, what these people are playing. If they're telling us the truth or they're just making up truth for confusion. This is where it gets a little challenging. But hey, we all love a good puzzle, don't we? Sure we do. That's what makes life fun, figuring out these things. And yeah. So Luis Elizondo came out and talked about this and some other things, and said that he had just walked away from his job at the CIA just a few days before. Furthermore, there was another fellow named Chris Mellon. I think he was the head of Lockheed Skunk Works. Apparently just walked away from his job. One of the Lockheed Skunk Works facilities. There's some sort of head. I won't say the head. Once again, going off of memory. This is a few years ago, 2 years ago. Said that he was there, and he was there to talk about these things as well. The UFO phenomenon is real. Blah blah blah. We already know that. Thank you. And then we have Hal Puthoff. Fascinating guy. There's so many of these characters, it's just like I'll go on for a moment before I say that. Hal Puthoff worked with the CIA forever. Very involved in something called the remote viewing program, which was something that the CIA was up to. Remote viewing, I don't know if you've ever heard about it. Really interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I had a very, very wise being tell me before he passed away, basically, that talked about spying in a bad way. Let's put it that way. So I had so much respect for this person that I don't think spying on anybody is a good idea. I think that's an invasion of privacy, but whatever. Call me old-fashioned. Hal Puthoff was involved with remote viewing. Yuri Geller, if you're as old as me, you'll probably remember who he was. Very involved with it. Worked for the SRI Institute, Stanford Research Institute. That's what these people did, man. They practiced remote viewing and spying. You can use it to find things, which is awesome. I mean, that part is good. But once again, any technology, be it physical or even something like remote viewing, which is consciousness technology. It's one of the many aspects of consciousness technology. Let's put it that way. You have to be responsible enough. You have to be spiritually mature enough to use that stuff. And unfortunately, I think some people are giving us technologies that are putting us in a precarious situation in this world. And I have my feelings about remote viewing. I could just leave it at that. Not something I do. Not saying I couldn't. And if I had to help out this world, I'd do it. I'd probably be able to do it with these. So there's Hal Puthoff, and he's talking about this. Now, Puthoff represents the government. So does Luis Elizondo. There was one other fellow there. He was pretty important and prominent, but I don't remember who he was right now. Anyway, these people who were forming this company to make movies and books for us little baby earthlings so that we could understand the UFO phenomenon and also make some sort of vehicle that travels super fast around the world. I'm not sure if it was into space. Maybe it was into space. We've already got all this technology. We don't need to give some independent company money for this. We have given countless tax dollars over the years and have paid exorbitant amounts of money into charities and other organizations where the money has been laundered to already create these programs, not to mention all the money that has been gathered from all the wars, which of course are always funded by the reptilians, both sides of the wars, always the reptilians, and they can go pillage and plunder and take everything from the people they've conquered and put it into these programs, which have been going on for a really long time. It's going to be shocking to people when folks actually find out how long we have built out in space. It's going to be shocking. Shocking. Anyway, To the Stars Academy coming out and telling us in 2018 that the UFO phenomenon was real. And of course, mainstream media people they interviewed, because it was all over the mainstream media, which already tells me they want this out, right? So if it's on the mainstream media, they want it out. They want the news out for a reason. There's an agenda. They would continue to ask Luis Elizondo, who seemed like he ended up being the head of this, the former head of the AATIP program for the CIA. They would ask him over and over, and they'd ask him more questions, like they do, because they're part of the limited disclosure everything. We'll ask a little portion of the question, and we'll give you a little pearl of truth, a little grain. That's all you get. And they were asking him as time went by, months went by. Like at some point, it's like, do you think there's extraterrestrials that are flying these machines, Louise? Oh. Well, in my opinion, maybe. And then, he kind of came along a little bit more, almost to the point of saying yes, I think, almost. But I mean, come on. You're telling us there's a UFO phenomenon and it's not our technology. Well, who the hell is it then? Maybe it's not extraterrestrials. Maybe it's interdimensionals. Something's flying them. I mean, maybe they're flying them. Maybe there is no pilot. Maybe they're, flown by remote control from elsewhere. We need to get really serious with our elected officials and with anybody who runs this country, even those who are non-elected that are running things behind the scenes illegally. We need to get really serious with these people and the mainstream media and tell them we are looking for the truth. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the truth. I mean, they come out in the mainstream news and tell us, we call it the giant space turd, and I'm sure that's very disrespectful. There must have been some sort of society somewhere that made this incredible flying machine. I'm not telling us who they are. Oumuamua. You remember reading about that in the mainstream media, right? Oumuamua. Giant, like huge cigar-shaped craft. Looked like it was pretty beat up. Almost looked like it was made out of stone or something like that. Really beat up. Calling it a giant space turd. I mean, that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. It looked just like a turd floating through space. All of a sudden, it just came out in the news just about the time this To the Stars Academy stuff came out, too. Are they trying to tell us something? You think? We could just sit here and just go, all right, well, yeah, we'll consider that, sure. What time's the game on? Don't we have to go shopping? I need a new purse. Come on, man. We could be living in paradise. We could be living in heaven on earth. If you read sacred texts, including the Bible, New Testament, Jesus talks about it. But we don't do that by leaving a group of reptilians and their minions in charge of this world. We just don't. Daddy's a pimp and mommy's a hooker. Those people need to be behind bars, even if they're the ones that have been telling us stories since we were little children. They need to be behind bars. Things to think about today. You can look up To the Stars Academy. I'll make sure I put a link below. And also the giant space turd, because if you haven't seen it, it's always great to see a giant space turd. And remember, they're real. They're real. They've been visiting us forever, and they're still visiting us now. One of them might be your neighbor. You never know. Might be you. Might be me. You never know. But I say we check them out. We're in an incredible time in our Earth's history. Incredible. We have the energetics right now. We have the energetics right now to really do some amazing and miraculous things for ourselves, for each other, and for this planet. Truths and technologies beyond our wildest dreams are being withheld from us, and they can give us absolute heaven on earth. These truths and technologies have existed in other cultures before us on this planet. Just more stuff they're holding back from us. One of these days I'll probably get into more of our history on this planet. It's incredible. They can take their history books in the schools and just burn them, man. It's garbage. It's garbage and it's boring. Let's break out of the box, kids. Calling out the reptile in the living room saying, you need to go. We're elevating. We're evolving. I love you guys. Tons and tons. Mwah. Peace.